Welcome, Tiger fans. We're here for our Week 4, is that right?
Week 4.
Installment of Sports Talk. Had a tough game last night against a tough opponent. We have Coach Essenberg here with us this morning, and we're just going to go right into it. I know it's going to be rough to talk about, but what can you say about last night?
Well, the best thing about last night is I got a chance to see a good old friend of mine, a couple of them. One of them's David Presley that was at Pisgah forever, and we had many, many wars against each other. It was good to see him, talk to him before the game. He's their offensive line coach and does an outstanding job. He had all 5 of them returning from last year, and they're big and strong and get after you, and that kind of set the precedent of the whole night. But we played awful. We had a lot of no efforts. We didn't execute on offense at all. Now, a lot of that had to do with them. They're a very good football team. They're very big. They're also physical. They were faster than we were. They're just better than us all phases of the game. And it had a kind of, pretty good idea going in that could be the case, but you still have to play hard. Our job is to get better each week so that when the opportunity comes, when we play somebody closer to what we are, we have an opportunity to gain from that. The way we played last night, we backed up a step. I told them day one, we get better each day. Well, last night we got worse. Right. And that didn't have anything to do with Smoky Mountain. I'm not talking about the score. I'm not talking about, all that stuff.
Just our execution.
It's what we do. We're trying to build something up that's been in the ashes. I mean, it's,
right.
The lack of strength because we're not strong because they haven't been in the weight room. The lack of commitment. They had opportunities to come throughout the summer to get bigger, faster, and stronger. A lot of them chose not to come. So, we're kind of reaping what we deserve somewhat
right.
because we haven't put the time in to earn it. And that's something that they got to learn, and they got to step up. And if they want to turn things around, then they're going to have to do that.
They got to get their mind in the right spot so they can get their body developed and their strengths built up.
Sure,
you got to be in that mindset that you want it.
We're years behind the other programs,
right,
as far as lifting and stuff. We really are. And to give you an example of the difference, when I came to Rosman the first time, back in the early '90s, I had a whole bunch of sophomores coming, and we had some juniors and seniors
really good,
too.
Yeah.
But we started our my weight program and stuff, and they busted their tail.
Yep. And
through the summer, they all came. So guess what? When we came in that first year to start playing, they had already reaped some of the benefits of the weight room and stuff.
Yep.
This bunch had the same opportunity, and they haven't reaped it. They haven't done it, and that's what you run into. So they're going to have to make a commitment that they want to change it.
I know,
and it can get changed.
I know watching that game last night was painful. I've been in games where we're getting killed and it's hard playing it, but I can't imagine trying to coach and stay positive and keep the guys motivated and keep them going and doing when you're going up against a team the caliber of Smoky Mountain, plus you're getting lackluster performance out of your guys. I mean, I feel sorry for you and the coaching staff, having to deal with, I know it was rough.
Very frustrating. I mean, you call a play and you don't, you're going to call something. You hope if we execute it right, but and then defensively we're in the wrong places. We're not filling gaps. We're not playing hard, and we have to play nearly perfect. I've said that all year for us to succeed because we don't have tremendous speed. We don't have size, so that means you have to get your fits exactly where they're supposed to be. And if you break down, I think the thing that we want to become more physical. We ran away from them last night. Yeah. That's the part that really eats at me because that is so far away from any team I've ever had.
Well, it's not the
we
Rosman
just don't
mentality.
do that. No, we don't do that.
You run into the fire no matter how bad you're going to get
sure.
burnt.
And that's kind of how it went. And the bad part about it is there could be some of these coming down the road.
Well,
you got to realize Smoky Mountain, Robbinsville beat Smoky Mountain, Swain beat Smoky Mountain.
Yep.
So it's not like we have a cakewalk coming. We don't.
Our schedule,
it's brutal.
Got 6 teams in the Smoky Mountain Conference, which is always tough. That's our second team out of the Mountain 6 Conference. And I think, honestly, we played the top 2 teams out of the Mountain 6 Conference, in my opinion. We got a brutal schedule.
Sure.
And it's one of them things. I mean, it's almost like you're fighting to survive in our schedule
and
more than
sure it is.
than succeed.
And you've got Chase, who they've been up and down throughout the years, but looks like
Unfortunately,
they're up this year.
Yeah, they're up this year.
So,
After what they did to East last night, yeah, they're up.
And, on the positive, when anybody hurt, we were nicked up from last week. We had some kids that, had some ankles and stuff, and
So
so
that's the only thing.
nobody's. And I asked them on the bus, anybody hurt? And of course, they said no. And I mean, when you run away from people, you got to get hit to get hurt sometimes. And
So the only thing got hurt last night was our pride.
But sure, it sure did. And I think you'd like to think it did. You'd like to think it did.
It hurt me watching. I hope it hurt them playing.
So
if it don't hurt,
So you don't know that. You come in Monday, and I mean, you take your lumps and you go on. I mean, regardless of what's going to happen, we're going to play with what we got. And we're going to come in Monday, and we're going to go back to work, and we're going to try to improve. We're going to do the things that we have to do. I mean, we're doing things that by this time in the season, you start backing off some of it. We can't. I mean, we're still messing up drills that were day one drills. Trying to get linebackers to rip through a hole and to read their keys. We're still doing that.
What discouraging to me last night was last week against Madison. I mean, completely different opponents, but we started seeing some good signs. We've seen they were getting motivated. They were getting fired up. They were starting to. It's like they were starting to get it. They were starting to click. They were starting to get where they're supposed to be at. They're hitting their holes. They're coming in. They're making their tackles. I was hoping, really, we're going to turn the corner. Yes, we're going to fight some opponents that are going to be bigger, stronger, better than us that we ain't going to beat, but, we're getting on the right direction. We're fighting hard. And like you said, last night was just like,
last night,
it was just a back up. I mean,
defensively for us, they probably ran maybe 6 or 7 plays the whole night that didn't gain 4 yards or more.
Right.
I mean, no, that's not doing what you're supposed to do. And, they hit us on one deep throw. Our biggest problem is, and a lot of it has to do with lack of strength, we can't get off a block,
Right.
even on the edge. Once they engage us, they got us. And they just steer us around, and that goes back to the weight room. You can teach technique all you want to, but get your hands off. But when you go and you can't move them because they got you, that's the problem.
And
that's what we're running into.
When you've not had a weight program, it takes 2 to 3 years to get that built back
sure
up.
It does.
Of the kids working out. And I know your coaches have got a good plan, and you got some good coaches there trying to work on strength and conditioning. But it's just going to take some time to get.
And the kids got to
point.
take the class, and they got to work.
Yeah.
And if not in the class, they need to come after school or before school or whatever. I had kids coming at 7 o'clock in the morning to work out because they couldn't get an advanced PE, so they came in the morning, lifted, and then went to first period.
To me, it's a mindset. I mean, I hate to sound like the old guy talking, but I am. But we've talked several times on the way to and from games that when we were back in our day, I'll say that like that. You wanted to go out there and give your all to represent your school. You wanted to go out there and defend your school. You wanted to put in those extra time and work, and you felt almost in a way it's like an obligation to go out there and play and to fight and try to be proud of your school. And there's times that I get frustrated wondering, is that pride there that we used to have? And I really want it to be there. I was frustrated. My son, I could never get him to play football.
I was out of it for several years, and everybody keeps, all my old coaches say, Coach, their kids are different now. Kids are different now. And, my always comment to them was, well, I don't think they really are. I think expectations are different of the kids. And it's gotten softer as it gone on. Now, you look at some of the programs that are still strong, their kids hadn't changed.
Right.
So it's not just in a certain place. I mean, Brevard went through a string where they were soft.
Right.
And Coach Pritchard's done a good job in the weight room to build that back up. And I think that, kids are kids, and I know technology and all that stuff has brought things into it, which that's way beyond me because, I'm not a technology guy, never will be. It's just not going to happen. But still, the nuts and bolts of kids, they're still kids, and they're going to do what you expect them to do. And if your expectations are tougher, kind of like the old school tough, they're going to respond to it. I'm sorry, they are. But now if you relax it to the point that they can be soft, they're going to be.
Right.
That's human nature. That's just the way it is.
Whatever you can get away with, you're
Sure.
going to, right? It's going to take some time. I know. I'm confident you're the one to do it. I think it's going to take some time to get the mindset changed. But it's going to be a struggle.
Well, I think they understand it. I really do, and I think that, for the most part, they're trying to do what we're asking them to do. I mean, they really are. So I have to give them props for that. But when you run against somebody that's that much better than you, it just snowballs. I mean, I can remember coaching the Shrine Bowl. Now these are elite athletes, and they were supposedly going to do one thing, and then somebody got hurt, and they switched to something else. And I can remember telling Coach Brown from Maiden at halftime we needed to switch up our defense. Well, he wouldn't do it because we didn't practice it. Well, I changed defense halftime too, and it's worked. Against some opponents, because what you're doing ain't working. So let's see if we fix something. And he wouldn't do it. And I said, well, they're going to score 100. Well, they did, because they had three of the top 5 wideouts in the nation were playing for them.
Wow.
And they were going to run the wing tee, because they had the fullback and tight end and all that. Well, then they got hurt in practice, so they switched to the spread and started slinging it everywhere. And those are elite athletes, but it can still snowball. Once one thing goes bad, man, it's just like it just keeps rolling downhill, and that's what happened last night. And then you're trying to pick it up, and they go, and that lineman's just mauling them, because he's 6'4", 270 pounds, and benches 400. You know what I mean?
Well,
and we're in front of them 160,
50, 60,
170 pounds, and benching maybe 200. It changes the aspect of it.
Well, I know it's frustrating too, because you go through and you're working in practice, and you're running plays in practice, and it's clicking, and you're getting it, and it's coming down, and you're hitting your blocks, and everything's going good, and you're breaking this play for 15, 20 yards, and everything's looking great, and you've been doing it for 3-4 days in practice. And then you walk out there on the field, and you get hit for a -2. But running the same play just because, like you said, you've got a
there's some truth, but like last night, we blocked it wrong. We blocked everything wrong. They were so confused. I don't know why. I think the biggest thing last night, we couldn't get off the line. You're supposed to defensively, you're supposed to attack the V of the neck and control your gap and keep them off linebackers. Well, guess what? We couldn't get off the line of scrimmage.
They had linebacker.
The linemen couldn't get off the line of scrimmage.
They had a linebacker kept jumping up the line like he was coming, but didn't that much. I mean, it was like, I think he was just trying to throw
And if
them
they
off.
come
He
and
was
you
just trying
block
to throw them off.
your gaps, that's good, because now you don't have to combo block it. Now he's in your gap, 2 down blocks, and you're gone.
If he's down there, it's quicker and
But
easier.
we went back to tippy-toe and running, and a lot of that's due because there's not a hole to run in.
Right.
And, so, those are all things that, you just got to keep practicing. And it's not like you're magically going to wake up one day and you're, benching 100 pounds more and you're running 2/10 faster in the 40 and you have 10 transfers come in that, could play for the Patriots and then all of a sudden you're good. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. We have what we have. And so all we can do is go out there each day and really work hard and go out there and then play hard. And that's the thing that got me last night. We did not play hard last night. If we played hard and the score is the same, I'm not going to fuss at them.
Right.
I'm not. I'm not that kind of person, and I've told them that. But, we succumbed and just kind of rolled over and tuck our tail between our legs and hid last night. And that's not something that I can stomach.
No, well, I know you want to give 100%. If they're 100%, you're still getting killed, then that's fine. At least they're out there, they're giving it everything they got.
Yeah.
And that's all I know. When I was a player for you, that's all you ever asked us for. You told us. I remember one time you said something to us that we all just kind of looked at each other, but then it kind of clicked with us finally. Was you said, I don't care if we win a ball game this year. I just want you to hit somebody. I want you to know that they know they've been in a ball game, know they've been
That's
hit.
right.
Mm-hmm. You go out there and play hard from start to finish.
So win and take care of itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And once we finally started buying into that, we started getting better. And then the team of next year that you had was phenomenal. When Brett was a junior and a senior, you had those two, because those juniors and sophomores behind my senior class, they got it faster than we did, and it clicked, and they started pulling it together.
Well,
and,
they lived in the weight room.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
You had some,
it's
you had
unbelievable
some
how strong we
huge
got.
kids, yeah. And
they did it quick. I mean, if you really go work hard, I mean, I never forget that first year. I had a mama from Robin called superintendent, said I was passing out steroids in the locker room
because people were building up
got
so big.
much bigger, so much quicker. No, they just went to work.
Oh yeah,
They were thriving to go to work. They were tired of it. I don't know if our kids are tired of it enough, you know. And one reason, they haven't been there. They haven't been beat on. Our players didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't played. They don't know. They weren't out there on a varsity Friday night game and get hit in the mouth and stuff to where they want to change it. They haven't played since they were freshmen.
Yeah.
You know. And so it's the greenest. I mean, we're working on stuff that I told them last night. My grandson's a mite. He's 11 years old. He understands football better than some of our players on the varsity. I've told them that. I mean, he knows if the ball's kicked off, it's live, and you have to get on it.
Yeah,
last night we looked at it like, I mean, I don't understand.
That was a rough play.
I mean,
last
that's
night.
just, those are things, and that just shows you we didn't have our head in it.
No.
You know,
No.
and that's not snow. That's just not being focused, and you know, those things that we just got to keep working on. I mean, that's all we can do. We have no choice but to do that.
Just keep moving forward, do the best
Yep.
we can do.
Yeah, and of course, once they start doing it, it's going to it'll start showing off down the road.
Oh, sure it will. And you know, a school like Rosman, you can't afford to lose any kids. And, you know, we got some kids that should be playing that aren't playing. And, you know, a school that size, even some of the 2A schools have the same problem. You don't have surplus of athletes.
Right.
So if you've got 2 or 3 kids that should be playing that aren't playing, that's a big loss.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
It's huge.
You know, it's not like, you know, missing 10 or 11. I mean, we don't have the ability to just reload. You've got to take every single athlete in school needs to be playing. They
Well,
need to
you-
play multiple sports for the athletic program to have success.
Right. 3 or 4A school, you know, you got 100 athletes and you're choosing the best ones out of it. With 1A, you're hoping that everybody comes out.
Sure.
You know, that you can, you know, we've said for years, Mike especially said, you know, when you're coaching 1A football, you end up, you'll have 1 or 2 just athletes, just they could do anything. And you got maybe 3 or 4 football players, and then you have a lot of other people on the team. You know, and it's just like, because it's 1A.
Well, it's
you
true.
don't have as many to choose from, but the thing is, it's getting the numbers to come out and getting the kids out there and getting them motivated to try and try to do it.
It's culture too, because I mean, our school's not much different than Robbinsville,
Mm-mm.
but
Right.
they seem to have them out all the time.
Oh, every year.
You know.
And they're always big, they're always strong, they've
You know,
got a
and you
huge
know,
weight
that's
program.
just something that's got to change. I mean, if you want to build a program, then those kids have to buy into it, and that's all of them buying into it.
Yep.
You know, and that weight room's where that bond can go, because even your baseball players and basketball players, they ought to be in the weight room too. So as they get in the weight room and they start to build strength, guess what? Some of those guys turn into football players.
Right.
It intertwines and runs together.
Well, you've
Some of
had
those football players say, hey, I think I'm going to play basketball this year. You know, those type things. And then your whole athletic program grows. But we're nowhere near there, and we need to get back. We need to get there.
we're starting at ground zero trying to build
Yeah.
up. And well, Coach, I wish you the best of luck. Hope they
Hey, we're
they
gonna
get
go to work
motivated
Monday.
and just keep working hard.
We'll just keep it plugging.
And that's
I
all.
appreciate you joining us. Let you go. I know you got stuff to do, but thank you for talking to us, and we'll talk to you next Saturday morning.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Coach Hessenberg.
Bill, you want to come in and jump in with us? Yeah, you come in and follow him. We'll go over. We'll see if Bill wants to talk with us a little bit. Boy, last night was rough. Last night was just a painful rough. But and I ain't making no excuses. Smoky Mountain's a heck of a football team.
Yeah,
They
they
were
are.
big, they were fast, and their players were where they were supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. They played aggressive the whole time, even when they put their second string in. Played solid. You have anything?
You saw a well-coached team.
Yeah.
Well prepared.
Yeah.
Physically.
Well,
fit.
and they've bought into it.
Yeah.
They
They bought into
All
it.
right.
That's different, and that's the whole thing. We've got to get everything clicking. We've got great coaches, and we've got good kids, but it's just you have to completely buy into what you're doing. And like I was talking to Coach Essenberg, it takes the weight program thing is huge. If you get you don't have the strength of the team across from you, especially when they're bigger in size, that kills you. And to me, it starts up front. And I'm not trying to pick on our linemen, but I was a lineman myself. I know if the line don't get much glory, but they always get blamed. If you're not strong up front, and you can't give your quarterback.
Well, you got a green
time.
team. You got a
Yeah.
green team, and you got an excellent coaching team. A couple weeks ago, I talked with Jason Ornsby, who's the principal at the high school, and he was complaining. Well, not really complaining, but he was concerned about the team and things of that nature. And I said, Jason, if these kids were all sophomores, and you had this problem of not winning and not doing this, that, and that, I said, then you'd have a problem.
Right.
I said, but you talk about freshmen, sophomores. Some kids never played football.
Right.
Okay? And then you'd have a problem. I said, now wait till they're seniors. Then say you got a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, you're right.
Yeah, because they're young. I mean,
You don't
they're
have
young.
a problem.
Yeah.
What you got a problem is kids trying to buy into the concept. I got to put the time in. I got to work.
It is.
And the coaching staff is excellent.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, I've
yeah.
talked to every one of them. I've only been here, maybe a month with these guys. I've been around this football thing for a long, long time and seen a lot of football.
Oh, yeah.
And they know football. And Dan's an excellent, excellent coach. He's well respected among his peers in North Carolina, I promise you. He's been around a long time. So give it time, guys.
Yeah, that's the
Give
whole
it
thing.
time,
It's-
and you'll see a difference. These kids are they're gonna come around. Last night, you're gonna see more of it. I'm sorry, you got the Murphys and the Robbinsville's coming. You're gonna see it, and that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and it's, well, you look, Robbinsville's got, last night Smoky Mountain had 17 seniors. I think Robbinsville has 12. Murphy has 9, I believe. So, we're going to be playing not only just bigger, stronger, faster,
Sure.
but more experienced teams.
Sure.
It's going to be something we're going to deal with all season. And the thing is, I hope that the young men on our team this year realize that they've got an opportunity to start something. They've got an opportunity if they fight hard and stay with it and they start working out and building up. They've got an opportunity to start something. They may not reap the rewards from it, but they can sow the seeds for this to build up and actually have a program again at Rosman. Because, like you said, we've dropped off in the weight room. We've dropped off on strength. We've dropped off on numbers. We've got kids walking the hall that really ought to be out there trying to play football and represent their team, support their team. And it's just a matter of getting that pride, tradition, and spirit back.
Speaking of pride, swallow your pride.
Yep.
Okay, work on humility and not turn it into futility. Okay,
Exactly.
and that's what you have to do here.
I'd like to see the boys, the young men, go out, address, go out and talk to the young man that's walking the hallway. Say, hey, look, come on with us. Help us build something here. Help us get this thing turned around, and go from there. Because you got to have your team leaders. To me, have got to go out and talk to some kids, and then be the leader in the weight room, be the leader.
I have
Doing
said that,
things.
Joey. I have said that for years and years. There are kids walking the hallways and sitting in these classrooms of schools that are better than the kids on the fields
A lot of times.
and on the
Yeah.
courts
A lot of
that
times.
are not playing
Mhm.
for whatever reason. And it's how can you reach those kids?
I know. And then that's,
All right.
that's
Do
the
you
challenge.
reach those kids through the kids that are playing, through the friendships or whatever have you, relationships and things? Do you reach it through the teachers? Do you reach it through the coaches? The coaches can't do everything.
Right.
Okay. So how do you do that?
Yeah, and that's the endless question there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
you
know-
just keep pounding away and trying and go from there. So,
To me, for this year, I really hope our seniors, which we don't have many,
right.
but I hope our seniors will step up and challenge their teammates or underclassmen, to work hard. Say, all right, look, this season may not be a winning season. This season may not be, it's just the first step in building a program. we're going to take some hits. We're going to take some bad hits. It's going to be rough, but stay with it. Still, the seniors. I really want our seniors to step up. I think they're capable of doing it too. I think we've got some fine young men on this team. But I really want to see our seniors step up and have the leadership to say, look, our senior year may not be what we want it to be. It may not be anything close to what we want it to be. But we could start something here so that when y'all hit the field next year as seniors, you've got an opportunity to build on what we've done. You've got an opportunity to build and grow the program. And then when you sophomores, when you hit the field as seniors in a couple of years, the program is steadily increasing, and you're bringing more people in, and you're building it. And right now, the whole thing is about trying to get the program built back up. We've had, I think, 2 winning seasons since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? We've had like 2, maybe 3 winning seasons. I think 2 winning seasons. And we had one 500 season. And that's hard for me to swallow because, I mean, when I was in school, we had one year we were 1-9. And then the next year, Coach Essenberg came in, and we went 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Just turned it around. The year after that, they were like 8 and something. I mean, we bought in. We bought into it. When he
Right.
told us to get our tail in the weight room, we did. When he told us to go out there and run, we did. When he told us that we were better than we were playing, that we had it in us, we had potential, he got more out of us than what we thought we had to begin with. But the numbers had to come out,
Well,
and we had to buy into what he was
Something
preaching.
else too that hinders the programs now is you don't have feeder programs like you used to have in the past. The midgets, the mites, the termites, the JV teams and stuff like that. You used to have these. They were on the same program as the high school programs,
Right.
where you had your 9th and 10th grade teams or JV teams. They all had the same playbooks and things like that. These kids were feeding into this thing, so they knew the plays. They may have 5 plays this year. Then when they moved up, they had 10 plays and 15
Right.
plays. So the time they reached JV's levels, they had a pretty good knowledge of that book. And then when they were juniors and seniors, they knew that. They were working with weights. They were, they
Well,
knew
you're
the plays.
not teaching them the plays. You're improving on the plays.
You added to that principle of the playbook and things like that. So you didn't have to go out and recruit these kids and teach them from scratch like Dan Essenberg and his coaching staff is doing right now. So it's hard to teach that. I mean, what to do, and that's what they're having to do.
Well, you look at successful programs. I'm just looking on our scorers here. Your Swains, your Robbinsville, your Mountain Heritage.
Year after year after year. Now you look at
They start out. Mountain Heritage was a perfect example because
they
Mountain
built
Heritage
their program
was-
based on that philosophy.
Mountain Heritage was, to say it nicely, was a whipping boy for a lot of years.
Exactly.
And we talked with a coach over there one time years ago about what did you do to turn things around. He called a meeting, the community. He had everybody from mini mites all the way up through the seniors on varsity football and set them down and said, look, we've got to be on the same page. We've all got to work together. I need these young men on youth football. They're running the same offense. They're running the same defense. They're working out. They're getting strong. And he said it took them 5 years. It took them 5 years. He said from the time we had that meeting and when we started getting that it needs to be across-the-board program on the same page, he said it took us 4 or 5 years. But once it started clicking, I mean, you look now, they're a year in and year out. They're a dominant team. They're a tough team.
Well, you take down the road here in Brevard, they have a program. And Dan will tell you himself, athletes coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have developed that program
Yep.
through their JV programs and beyond that. They've got a weight program, but and they live with it. Those kids come in the summer, they come in after school, they come in before school. They're there.
And that's the thing. I'm not trying to say the kids nowadays don't have the dedication that people in the past have had, but I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. It's a big responsibility. It's a lot to take on. I mean, you've got your classes are first and foremost. That's your priority, your education. And it's a lot to take on being an athlete, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, soccer, tennis. It doesn't matter what the sport. You've got to do your education first and foremost. You've got to take care of doing your classes and getting your homework done and get your education. To be a student athlete, it's a huge deal. But at the same time, to me, you can't do it, halfway. If you're going to do it, you got to
do it all
They
the
got
way.
to understand something else too. Sometimes this is a coaching problem where you have coaches that change and philosophies change and things, but you also have a cyclical problem where cycles change.
Right.
Okay. Bavard went through that.
Right.
Coaching problems, cycles change. Then you have those down
Osmonds
years.
had that. Yep.
Rosman's got that problem. Well, you just happen to hit both of them at the same time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The perfect storm.
So
yeah.
the perfect storm. So now you got to build from scratch. Okay.
Yeah.
We are building from scratch here now. Okay. So
Exactly.
it's going to take a while to get through that. I was part of that before, and having go through years after year after year being up there at the top, I can tell you firsthand how terrible it was sitting in a broadcasting booth with a long face and the other broadcasters and stuff and the other coaches in the press box. Sorry, buddy. Hey, after they just beat you 50-0. And,
Yeah.
And it used to be the other way around. And you go to the Pisgahs and the Franklins, and they're just,
Oh, yeah,
they're giving you
they're
that big grin.
Yeah.
Oh, we got you, buddy.
See,
We know how you feel, and you sure
we,
do.
We got teams that it's like that. We used to be respected for how we played.
The style of play
Right,
it was
right,
rough
exactly.
and tough.
It wasn't
and things of that.
Yeah,
nature.
we may not win over the years. We can count on one hand. Maybe how many times we've beat Murphy and Swain.
Mhm.
'Cause they're the upper echelon for the
Right.
conference. And we remember those games. The old timers. We're like, oh yeah, you remember in 07 or remember in '93. I mean, you know the years because it was such a big deal. But back in those times, though, it doesn't matter if we got the win or not. You got, we were respected. Swain might beat us 21-20. Murphy beat us by a point, or 2.7 points. I mean, we were fighting. We were fighters, and we were hitting. We had one time. One of my crowning moments to me was proudest moments. We played Swain my senior year, and Coach Dietz called us on Monday practice. And, I mean, they beat us like 49-7. It wasn't even close. But he called Monday, and Coach Esper let him talk to us on speakerphone, and he was talking about how he had 2 guys out, had 4 or 5 more that was beat up.
Right.
They beat us on the scoreboard, but we hit them. We hit and fought. We got to get back to that. Just, what was it? Coach Esper says nasty. We got to get, not dirty, but nasty. We got to go out there and play and be hard.
Well,
and be
like I said
aggressive
before, one coach I did broadcasting with for many, many years always said, the kid's got to be mean. You got to have a mean streak in you to play football. And perhaps these kids don't have that mean streak yet. They haven't
Hope
reached
they do.
that point yet.
I think they got potential to do it. I like these kids. That's what gets me. But
Yeah.
I've talked to several of these kids. I like them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And I think they got potential. I
I'll tell you what, they're very, very polite.
Oh yeah.
They hold the door for me, coming and going out of places. They call me sir. Okay, okay, call me sir and hold the door for me. I appreciate that, but
They're a good bunch of kids, and I think they've got it in them. They just got to mentally make the decision. We're going to do this. We've been sitting here talking, rambling on.
I just want to say one thing quick. I had an old baseball coach, and he always told us, you're going to play the way you practice.
Absolutely, Joey.
And so you take that to heart, and you say, okay, I got to improve in practice. You improve in practice. Practice pays off to ball game. And then that pays off. It makes everybody want to practice that much harder, play that much harder. If you go through practice going, well, I've done this so many times, I've got it down pat, and you sort of go through practice easy, and then come game time, it shows.
And before practice, you got to be hitting them weights and getting your body physically ready for practice.
All right.
Guys, let's.
What you got there? You got
Let's go
scores
through and
for
do
us?
some Scores. Last night we had a huge game for Smoky Mountain Conference team. We had Murphy was face up against Christ School. That was one of our pick 4 games, and we were kind of split. Our group was split on who was going to win, and I will say I did pick Christ School.
If I was going to pick, I would have picked Murphy, simply because Murphy being very physical, and I would have picked him up because
Gentry factor. And
well, not necessarily Gentry, because Murphy's style of play. more physical. Cry School, I would have said, more technical, proficient.
And their Murphy is extremely tough to beat at home.
Yeah,
it was
and
a home game.
being that favoritism at home, but Cry School with a 27-7
That
score,
that surprised me.
That was very surprising.
I was picking Dennis and I both picked Cry School to win, but I was thinking 7, maybe 14 points. But when I saw the final score,
It was a dogfight at first. And
oh yeah, it stayed close for a long time.
when I saw that score, I thought, "Wow, man, Murphy must have just laid down." So
Another
what else you got?
another conference matchup was Robbinsville versus Raven Gap. Raven Gap is playing some ball this year. They beat Franklin last week, I think 45-35 or something like that.
45-35.
And,
At Franklin.
they gave Robbinsville a run last night. I mean, a high-scoring game. Robbinsville came in on top, 55-48.
I don't know what happened to Franklin last year.
Yeah.
Last year, Franklin took a real fall last year, guys. We played Franklin and Brevard just – I tell people they didn't beat the team. They beat the whole program down. It was and people were just shocked about the way Brevard just
Oh, yeah, it was a huge
destroyed them on the
Yeah.
field, and it was the whole program, and they just have not recovered from that. I don't believe – I mean, they just went downhill from that point.
Swain defeated them last week, 27-0.
Yeah.
The thing that shocked me, or last night, 27-0. The thing that shocked me was, we had talked about, how down is Franklin this year.
Right.
They're going to get back up. Well,
That's
then
not
after
their
last
program.
Week, after last week, they fell to Murphy 15-7, and I thought, okay,
Yeah.
they're
making
getting
that
things
turn.
back on track.
Yeah.
They played a tough game against Murphy. It's a good close ball game. They failed, but that's all right. They're coming back. And last night, I mean, it's like Swain just hit him right in the mouth. I mean, it just But just talk about Brevard a minute ago. Brevard played our opponent from a week ago, Madison, and we were pretty confident with what the result of that. was
That's
going
not
to
a shock
Yeah.
right there.
And,
52-0.
be. No, 52-0 is not a shock, and I know I'm pretty sure Coach Pritchard done the same thing he did with us. He probably that probably hit that score pretty early.
Everybody, hit it
and
early,
it-
put JVs in. Yeah.
Pull back. Another one that we spoke about program we talked about earlier, Heritage being a power program. They won 38-0 over Stuart Kramer. Not real familiar with Stuart Kramer. So I
Where
don't,
they're from.
I don't know who he is.
I don't
but
either.
He got killed last night.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, one guy.
fella.
Now, another one of our pick 4 games was a matchup against two 3-0 teams. Was West Henderson and North Buckham. Who did you pick? West.
I
in
took
this?
West Henderson.
I
Yeah.
think, did we all take?
I think we all took West
I can't
Henderson.
remember.
And evidently, like Coach Essenberg said earlier before we come on air, West Henderson must be for real because they're putting it on some people.
And the score on that one was
35-7.
7.
Of course, you got to think about this too. Everybody is in their non-conference schedules.
Right.
Okay, these are
Right.
we call these. Charlie Owen and I used to call these cupcake games.
Oh yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Till you get in the last 5 games, then the roads are pretty hard. So
Oh yeah, and it's North Buncombe had. I know they played Madison a couple of weeks ago, and I think some of the other games they've had have not been, a big challenging game and team, and so it gives your kids they feel good because they've got a winning record. They feel good because they're winning the ball game, and they get that feeling what it feels like to
It's all-
win.
all
but
prep-
at the same
all
time,
prep
it's,
work for the
it's a false
conference wins.
facade, because then you go up against a buzzsaw and you get and Joey and I had a little bit of egg on our face last night because we were talking about how the TC program and the Reynolds programs
Right.
kind of dropped off of the last few years. And I wondered what's happened to them. And then we looked and the score came up, and TC was beating
Yes.
Asheville. And we're like, well, okay.
those
maybe,
those TC, Asheville, and Reynolds are probably one of the premier programs in the mountains. Really,
right, and have
you
been
turn
for
on the TV or open up the
years.
newspaper, and you're going to read about some of those teams basically all the time. I mean, but they're the bigger schools, and I guess that's where the big money's spent.
And that win by TC, they were 0-3 coming into that game. If I
I believe
remember
so.
right.
Yeah,
I believe
That
so.
may be the program turns that program back around because you remember back in the day, TC, Reynolds, they all had great teams.
Oh, yeah.
In the last few years, it seems like TC has been down.
Well, you had TC, Reynolds, you had Owen, that were
Irwin.
just Irwin.
Yeah.
That were just, you didn't want to play Asheville even. You
Yeah.
didn't want to play them. TC won that one 42-21. Then we go to Tuscola versus Inca. I was pretty confident Tuscola was going to win this. We got some weird scores coming in last night. I don't know if somebody was playing with the system. We had one time, we got some score updates that had ink on top, and I was like, let's wait and see what. But
I even made a comment. We were on the bus looking at the scores, and I said, wow, Inca's over Tuscola. Tuscola must be really crappy this year, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, what's going on there? But,
yeah, we got a score was like 15, 14.
I said,
and I was like,
they
something's
pulled
not
it
right,
out
but
big
it
time,
was-
35-7. So
Yeah, once they corrected the score,
Yeah.
35-7. Andrews last night, that's another one. They played a team from North Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking. We had a score there at one point in time. I think it was 20-7.
Seven.
North Georgia was over Andrews, and we're like, "Wow, Andrews is having a tough game." And then the next thing we know, we get the score. That was from the first quarter, I think, and then we got the score from the final, and it was 53-20.
But you're
Andrews.
playing teams. You hear of these teams like North Georgia and stuff. You don't know anything about these guys. You don't know
No.
where they come from. So
Now we're getting to our opponent for next week.
Mhm.
Yep. This is not pretty. Our opponent for next week is Chase. We've never played them before. They'll be coming to Roslyn, and be a home game. They played against East Henderson, which is a team we know very well. We've played them for a few years, and East has been pretty consistent. Little better than us. I mean, we played them close a couple of times, but most times they've been a few touchdowns better than us. And actually, I know the Asheville Times had East picked, I think, by 7 or 10 points to win this game over Chase because they've had Chase's number the last few years.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
Asheville
it was-
paper are probably going to pick local teams over teams
Oh,
from
yeah.
away from here. But I'm going to tell you,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
familiar with Chase from last year. They got a lot of speed.
Well,
That's
yeah,
good.
that's right.
Bavard had a
they
hard
played
time
last
putting
year,
them
didn't
away last year because of the speed involved, and they're going to keep coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
they? And they took out East Henderson 54-8 last night.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of speed out of Chase, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Now we had Hendersonville. Hendersonville played Newton Conover last night, and that game didn't actually end until this morning because they didn't actually because of the rain delay with the storms. They didn't have kickoff till about I think it was 9:30 last night. And they finished somewhere a little after 12, but Hendersonville was able to survive that game 38-31. The only other score that we actually have is Cherokee was able to get their first win of the season.
Right.
Against the Carolina Gladiators and beat them 42-0. Now, we had 3 games in the area last night that had to be postponed due to just severe storms. Hayesville Lookout Valley storm was moved. Actually, that was not because of a storm. There was a water break in Chattanooga.
Chattanooga.
School, and they had to move it. That game is supposed to be played today at 7 p.m. Irwin A.C. Reynolds game got moved till today, and the North Henderson Owen game actually got moved to Monday. So we got 3 more games, and actually the North Henderson Owen game is one of our pick 4.
Four
So we got
games.
to wait till
That's
Monday to see how bad of a lead I have
that
over
game
y'all.
is that game's the basement dwellers' hope right there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. Yeah, 'cause
That's one of
And
those,
I'm not the basement
Stephen-
dweller, but that's
we're in our
Stephen.
pick
You know.
four. His son Stephen.
that's one of those yawners.
took North.
Put you to
Yeah.
sleep just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
His son took North, and all the rest of us took Owen. So
Okay.
he's hoping to dig himself out. Right now, I have a one
one game,
lead
you
over
and
the rest of
Dennis
y'all.
both, right?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
just you.
No, just
Okay.
me because Dennis took Franklin.
Oh, did he? He took Franklin over
Lost the
Swain.
Franklin game, so I've got a.
So we
I have
picked up a game
I have a
on him.
measly
Yeah.
little one game lead over y'all, but
So you're ahead of the other guys by one game.
by one
Okay.
game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
you-
So what
you-
does the winner get at the end of the year, guys?
Nothing.
Bragging rights.
Bragging
Nothing.
rights.
Just bragging rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you put
about
put something in the pot on this thing here.
We want
Yeah.
to. We've talked.
We
about
talked
that,
about it, but
So
yeah.
we did it on the radio, and we actually used the Asheville paper and picked like 15 or 16, 17 a week, and
yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Hammer Clayton and I used to do it. Charlie Owen.
We have fun doing it. That's actually how we end up with Joey on our crew because he would text in talking to us and stuff about challenging my picks and stuff, and we were just bantering back and forth
Right.
and got to having fun with it. And Mike and I talked to you. Hey, let's see if Joey wants to come on with us all the time, and he come in and everything. But we just
Nothing
we rib each other.
Nothing scientific about these picks.
No,
though.
just who you have that gut
Just
feeling that
gut
you
feeling,
want
Okay.
Yeah, I
All
mean-
right. We try to put a little scientific knowledge.
to. You may not have heard us last night, but when me and Matt first started out, he told me, I think he was at Pisgah was playing Tuscola. Tuscola was really good. He took Tuscola, and he said, "Ain't no way Pisgah beat them." Brett's first year over there or something.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah, for like 2 years in a row, I took Pisgah, and I couldn't get a word out of Matt forever.
Pisgah could have been playing the Patriots, and Joey would have picked
Yes,
Pisgah. It was
I'd
just
take
like
Pisgah,
he picked
yeah.
Pisgah every single week.
Yeah, so it was back and forth, and I text him during the game and say, "Hey, what about that Pisgah team? They're really doing good tonight."
He texted me one week. We didn't. Pisgah wasn't even in one of our pick 4 games, and Joey texts me and goes, "I'm gonna take Pisgah."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, but he was right though. I thought it was going to take Brett a year, maybe 2, to get everything going on track. And I was wrong. He got them going pretty quick. The kids balled in. They jumped right in, but we had some good banter back and
We
forth.
did.
So that ended up led to him coming in with us. And
It was every week they kept saying, and I never did see the standings. That's what's so bad because I was, I didn't go to the away games. I went to the home games. They kept telling me I was in the basement. I never did see the standings, so I don't know where I finished at. They never would show me, so I could have been second.
he could have been leading, and we
I
still
could have
would've
been,
taken him.
I could have
They
been
just left
first.
you hanging out there.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you just a couple of numbers from last night.
Oh.
Like Dan said, it wasn't nothing to be proud of, but
No.
I'm going to give you something anyway. We're not going to sugarcoat anything, but we had 87 yards of offense. Pretty much on par for what we had week 1 and 2. Last week was far better than what we've ever had.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, Thomas Collins had 15 carries last night. He carried the ball 49 yards, and we didn't have any penalties last night. So that's about the only thing we really had positive out of the whole ball game. Say anything about nobody got hurt that I knew of. Coach asked was anybody hurt? I'm sure their pride was hurt. A lot of them were upset with their play. Of course, you had the typical slamming of things around and in the back of the bus and mad and some crying a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I hope they was mad. I hope they was
Well,
crying.
you
Hope
know
they were
what?
hurt.
If you're mad like that and you're crying, you're slamming things around, whose fault is it?
It's yours,
Sure.
but you know what it tells me? It tells me that it hurt and it meant something, and that's
Yes,
what I want.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
If they're gonna, if it's gonna happen and you lose and you get beat like that, if you're sitting back there and you're stoic and you're just like, indifferent about what happened,
Nobody to blame but yourself.
But if you're not showing any kind of reaction or any kind of emotion, you've disconnected and it doesn't matter to you. I want them to be throwing stuff. I want them to be crying. I want them to hurt. And, I want them to not enjoy what they felt last night, because that way it tells me that their heart's in it. It tells me that they realize, we screwed up, we messed up, we lost. We've got to do something to fix
Swallow humility,
Right.
and gain your pride by working harder. And,
Work harder.
You've got the tools laid out in front of you to do so. Dan Essenberg and the other coaches will give you those tools to do better.
Mhm.
Oh,
And you'll improve. It's going to take time. And
we've talked about before, just looking at
that's all I got to say about that.
looking at the character and the caliber of coaches that we have, the coaching staff. We got 180-something years of coaching experience. It's not just coaching experience, because there's been a lot of people who just can go stand on the sideline and say they're a coach. But you look at the level of coaches. When you have, Dan Essenbergs and Mark Robinsons and Dusty Robinsons and Tyree Allen, that either were phenomenal players in high school, phenomenal coaches. Our younger coaches even, our younger coaches, played in college, doing great, coming along strong, with Coach Cook, Coach Swearingen. We've got a lot of good coaches, and we've had newer coaches. I'm not going to mention all of them, but we've got a lot of coaches that come in. They've played for Rosman, or they played in high school, they played in college, they know the game, and they're ready to help these guys. They're ready to be right there and help these guys. So when the guys get ready to say, all right, I'm all in, I'm willing to commit. I ain't using it once in a while. When they're willing to say they're all in and willing to completely, totally commit, then, things are going to start turning around, things will start changing.
And you also got Jerry Ime. I think he's assistant coach on JV, if I'm right. And so you got you use your coaches. They got the wisdom and knowledge. Use the coaches and improve every week, like we've been talking, and you'll see things start coming around.
And it's like Coach Esmer keeps saying, we're green.
We're green,
We're
yeah.
young. We got 6 kids can drive ourselves home from practice.
Exactly.
But if they'll honestly, man, if they'll buy in and listen to these coaches, they've got the knowledge there to them. And the thing is, you have to find a way of playing bigger than your size. You got to find a way of playing bigger than your skill level, because Coach said every single game we have this year, we're going to be outweighed by 20 to 30 pounds. Every game we have this year, we're going to have people that's going to be running 5 and 6/10 faster than we are. You know, they're going to be bigger, stronger, faster. We have to compensate for it. We got
Yep.
the biggest thing we can do is we got to go out there and have the heart and play. And if we get beat 45-0, 63-0, 42-0, whatever, you know, you keep your head up, you go out there and you play. And as long as they leave 100% of what they brought to the game on that field at the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if we lose, we lose. You know, I just want to see a maximum effort. If they go out there and they play hard, you know, then, you know, you give them a hug, pat them on the shoulder, and say, all right, just keep your head up. You know, we'll keep working next time.
Yep. We'll just
But,
keep working at it.
So we were hoping that the volleyball coach was going to join us this morning. I don't think she was able to make it over. We were still trying to find somebody to help us out getting volleyball scores and stuff. Do you know anything on this week? I didn't get nothing.
I didn't get anything either.
So-
I know they were playing. I think they were playing Thursday night. I think there was a JV game at home, football game, and I think volleyball was playing too, which is sort of odd. I think.
I have had a crazy week, and I didn't get. I've been trying to get somebody to be a correspondent to get in touch with us, you know, so we can, you know, cover everything volleyball. And I did not get anything this week, so I'm kind of in the dark about how the week went. I don't know if we won, we lost, how we did. I know we had a couple of games, but please still come out if you can. Try to come out and support our football, our volleyball teams,
Mhm.
and all of our athletes at Robb.
Yeah.
They're all playing hard and working hard, and see how the season goes. But anything else that you got?
I guess the only thing I can say is we start looking forward to Chase next week and seeing what, you know, the improvements are from this past week and see what we can do with Chase. You know, it's going to be a tough ball game, and hopefully the boys will be ready and they'll be ready to play at home.
Chase Trojans coming here from Ford City, North Carolina.
Carolina, yep.
It's going to be rough. Well, guys, we've lost our production assistant, so I'm going to go and see if I can shut us down.
All right.
Pull the plug on this puppy.
And we'll just say, as Matt does that, we'll just say, go Tigers. And if we don't go off air right away, we know Matt didn't hit the right button. He's looking.
We enjoy Matt playing with buttons.
Yep.